Okay, welcome back. So let us use this video to put all that we have learned together into solving a problem. So what we want to do is to write a function that accepts an integer, and what it does is to count the number of digits in that integer. So for example, and I'm assuming that my function is named number of digits. If I give it 2, 3, 4, it should return 3 because there are 3 digits. If I give it negative 1000, then it should return 4 because there are 4 digits in the number 1000. So we don't care about the negative sign. Okay, so we have our test function down here. We will test it with 15,000. Or let's just test it with what we have so far, 234. And then we'll do negative 1000. So what would be the first thing we need to do? Well, right away we notice that we need to iterate over the integer, and we need to individually pick each digit. Okay, and so the best way to do that is by using the integer division. So for example, if I have 123 and I say integer division 10, and I say integer division 100, or integer division 12, okay, notice that we can get the individual parts of our digit. Okay. Okay, so we will use the modulus, not sorry, the integer division operator to sort of give us that last digit. So our approach will be take the digit, and as long as we keep having digits, we're going to keep iterating. So right away, you know that we will need to use a while loop because we don't know when the program starts what size the integer will be. It could have 3 digits, it could have 10 digits, we don't know. And remember I said that if we don't know how many times the loop should run, then it has to be a while loop. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to convert the integer to its absolute value. Okay, so it doesn't matter if the user enters a negative or a positive, it will still work because we will convert it to negative since we don't care about the sign. So let's just use the same variable. Number is ABS, which is the absolute value. I'm going to give it number. Okay, so number is now positive. Great. So we now need to loop over the integer. Okay, and we will stop when, so we will continue as long as the number is greater than 0. Right? If the number is greater than 0, then it means that there is still a digit in that number. Right? So for example, if I have 12, right, there's still a digit. If I say 1 plus 10, okay, there are no more digits. I get 0. So if it turns out that my number becomes less than or becomes 0, then I know I should stop. Okay, so while number is greater than 0, I want to take each digit from that number. Okay, so if my number is greater than 0, then I know that there is at least a digit in that number. So I'm going to create a variable out here. Okay, let's just say let's put that out here. Let's say count the digits. So I will say count is initially 0. So every time I go through the loop, I know that I should increment my count because there is a digit in my number. So I'm going to say count is count plus 1. Okay. Now, obviously I need to make this loop stop. So to make it stop, it means that the number needs to approach 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say number, right, will be number mod, integer division 10. Okay. So, for example, if I have 12, then once I enter the loop, I know 12 is greater than 0. So I know there is at least one digit in 12. And now I need to get that 12 to be smaller. So now I have 1. And so number becomes 1. And so if I go back into the loop, is 1 greater than 0? Yes. And so I can say that there is another digit. So it's now 2. And if I take that 1 and integer divided by 10, now I get 0. And so my loop will break. So I can safely say that after I get the right number of digits, then I simply need to return the result. Okay. And so I'm going to say return count. Okay. So not that many lines of code to write, but the logic was important, whereby we had to know when to stop the loop. Alright. Okay, so let's test this out. Let's print our result to see if we get our expected answer. Okay. Alright, we get 3. So what would happen if I make this become negative 1000? We get 4. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do now, I want to grab this and I will put this into Python tutor so that we can get another view. Well, seems I already did that. So let me use my original value here. So I'm going to replace that. So let us visualize. Okay. So once again, Python will make a note of where the code is for our function, and it will jump to where we start or we call that function on line 20. Okay, so notice we're using negative 1000, but we will simply convert that to 1000. And so we set up our counter. Notice the function is in blue, so we're not in the global frame anymore. So whatever we do in here will be lost if we do not return it. Okay. So I'm going to do my loop. Okay. And every time I know that I should increment count by 1, and I should make the number smaller. So finally, the number becomes 0, which means that I will break out of my loop and I will now return the 4. Now, this is important. Let me edit my code. Where we have our return statement is very important. If we place the return statement inside, okay, so let me say 1, 2, 3, 4. If I were to put my return statement inside of the loop, then the first time we go through the loop, we would exit the function. So let me show you what that looks like. And this is a mistake that I see quite a lot in beginning programmers, where they put the return statement inside the function, inside the loop, sorry. And so the loop executes once and exits. So notice we go from line 13 to line 16. So because Python sees this return statement inside the while loop, they all have the same indentation level, Python will have to execute it. And when it executes it, it's a return statement. What does a return statement do? It destroys the function, so the function disappears. So if I do next, what is returned? 1, because that is our current value of count. Alright, and we're done. So the function returned the answer prematurely. So always be mindful of where your return statement should go. Right? This one should be outside, because you want to return the answer only after the while loop has computed that answer. So once you leave the while loop, only then will you go to line 16. Alright, so be mindful of that. Alright, so let's put 256 just to show you that it doesn't matter. The absolute value will still remain positive. Okay, alright, and it will proceed to create a count of 3, and then, and only then, will it exit the loop and return that 3, which we will then print. Great, so that brings us to the end of this section. I will see you in the next section where we begin our test your learning. See you then.